Go ahead.
Let me take you back in time and show you the way I lived. I died of terrible tragedy and terrible times. Will you tell me the story? But I've told it hundreds of times. Please? Okay. I was born in June of 1929 in Frankfurt, Germany. I had one sister. During this time, Hitler was taking over Germany, and World War II had broken out. Pretty soon, Nazis started invading Germany. In 1933, my father got an offer to start a new company in Amsterdam, Holland. Because of this, we moved to Amsterdam. I was 4 at the time. And all calls at my father's business were handled by a lady named Miep. On May 10th, 1940, my father was in his office, listening to a radio, when all of a sudden, a news broadcast came on. It said that the Nazis had invaded Holland and they had taken over. My father knew we were bound to be in grave danger very soon. 1 year later, my sister and I had to attend a Jewish secondary school because of Jew regulations. We also had to wear yellow stars. On June 12, 1942, I received a book of blank pages for my 13th birthday. Soon after, on July 5th, 1942, my sister received a notice saying that she is to report for deportation to a labor camp. Because of this, very early the next morning, my father told us to pack a few small items in our school satchels and put on many clothes. I packed my book of blank pages and put on lots of clothes. We then followed my parents to the building at which my father worked at. There waiting for us was me. She hid us behind a movable bookcase in a secret annex. The annex had 4 bedrooms, 1 bathroom, and an attic. We lived in here for 2 years with 4 other people. While in hiding, I wrote in my book of blank pages and made it my diary. On August 4th, 1944, we were discovered and all of us were arrested and taken away. My sister, mother, and I were taken to a concentration camp in Auschwitz. Soon after, my sister and I were transferred to a concentration camp at Bergen-Belsen, as you know. On January 6th, 1945, my mother died. In March of 1945, my sister and I died of typhus. Only my father survived. And on June 3rd, 1945, he arrived back in Amsterdam and moved in with me. They soon found out we died. Miep gave my father my diary she had kept ever since we were arrested and taken away. And in 1947, he had it published. Any questions?
Let me tell you a little bit about myself. I was born on November 30th, 1835 in Florida, Missouri. Nothing happened in that little old town, so we decided to move to Hannibal. When I was 4, my brother Benjamin took sick and died. A couple months later, my older brother Orion was forced to leave his job at the family store in Hannibal and become a printer's apprentice for the Hannibal Journal newspaper. When I was 12, my father died of pneumonia. Since no one was bringing in money, I had to work as a printer's apprentice alongside my brother after school. This was the first time I worked for a newspaper. As I learned the printer's trade at the Journal, I began to write stories about Hannibal. I published my first 2 stories in the Saturday Evening Post. This was followed by more published stories. When I was 15, when I was 24, I decided to see more than Hannibal, and my first stop was St. Louis, where my sister Pam lived. I earned enough money to reach New York City. But I only stayed in New York City for a couple of months until I moved on to Philadelphia. In Philadelphia, I got a job as a writer for a newspaper. Unfortunately, I was not successful. In 1863, I began using a name that everyone knows me by today. I've written several stories and letters under this name. One story that I wrote was talked about across the country. It was called Jim Smiley and His Jumping Frog. It made me very famous. Because of my fame, I started doing lectures. My first one was in 1866, and I made $400. This was my new career. I met a man named Charles Langdon who I became very good friends with. He carried a locket with a picture of his sister, Olivia Langdon. showed me the picture, I instantly fell in love with her. After many years of knowing her, we were married and had 4 children. I've written 2 books that are well known today. In 1894, my publishing company went bankrupt. So 1 year later, I gave lectures around the world to pay off my debt. In 1904, my wife died of a long illness. 2 years later, I gave my farewell lecture in New York. My character died on April 20th, 1910, at the age of 75. Strangely enough, the day I was born, Halley's Comet was in the sky, as it was the day I died.
Dear members of the press, I have a very important speech to deliver to you today about myself. I believe it will help you get to know me better. I was born in Hyde Park, New York on January 30th, 1882 to James and Sally. I attended Groton High School at the age of 14 and was homeschooled before that. I attended Columbia and Harvard law schools. Played football and was manager of the basketball team at Harvard. I ran for vice president in 1920 with James M. Cox as my running mate. We ran against Calvin Coolidge and Warren G. Harding. Of course, Coolidge and Harding won. I was elected governor of New York in 1928 and 1930 for 2 two-year terms. I was elected president for 4 four-year terms. That's more terms than any other president. During my first term, I helped America out of the Great Depression. During my second term, Japan bombed Pearl Harbor. I greatly admire my 5th cousin Teddy. He is the one that inspired me to become a politician. Here are some simple facts about myself. I married Anna Eleanor, my 2nd cousin, in 1902. I was stricken with polio in 1921 and was paralyzed from the waist down. Eventually, I could walk with help from crutches, braces, or one of my sons. I had 1 daughter and 5 sons. Unfortunately, one of my sons died during infancy. My character died on April 12, 1945 of a cerebral hemorrhage or a brain bleed. Thank you. Any questions?